Update. Am I the a-hole for posting a photo of my stepdad walking me down the aisle? Original post. So for context, I, 23 female, have a very strained and rocky relationship with my bio dad, 45 male. When I was young, he cheated on my mom, 45 female, and basically abandoned me and my little sister Belle, 21 female, for his new wife Amanda, 35 female. My mom remarried to my stepdad Jason, 48 male, when I was 10, 2 years after my dad left, and Jason has been more of a dad to us than my bio dad ever was. Bio dad didn't come to my wedding, so honestly I don't even know why I'm typing this, but here we are. I recently married the love of my life Daniel, 24 male, on August 1st. The day was magical. Jason walked me down the aisle, and it meant so much to me. We went to Hawaii for our honeymoon, and when we got back, our photographers sent us a sneak peek of our wedding photos. Obviously, I posted a few, including one of Jason walking me down the aisle. An hour after I posted, Belle called me and asked me to take that particular photo down. She said our dad had called her, saying it was disrespectful to let another man walk me down the aisle. She told him, "Well, you weren't even at the wedding." He apparently responded with, "I would have gone if she'd let me walk her down the aisle." For the record, there was absolutely no way I was going to let him do that. He hasn't been there for me in years, and Jason has been the one who's actually acted like a father. Now Belle says I'm being petty and rubbing it in his face by posting the picture, and some extended family on his side have started making comments about how I shouldn't air family drama online. I don't see how posting a photo from my own wedding is airing drama, but now I'm wondering if I'm missing something. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. If your bio father feels like this was disrespectful, then he needs to look at himself. He should have been a better father, and that would have been him in the picture instead of your stepfather. Did he not go to your wedding because he wouldn't be walking you down the aisle? Or did he not go for another reason? He can't ride 2 horses with one ass. He can't be a crappy father and then expect to get all the perks of being a good dad. He didn't go only because Amanda wasn't allowed to have a part in the wedding. He was invited along with Amanda to not have drama, but here we are LOL, and Amanda wanted a part in the wedding, like how my mom had. Amanda didn't go dress shopping with me. She didn't have a say in anything, and frankly, my dad didn't like it, so he told me he just wasn't coming. Of course you're not the a-hole. I would even double down on this and post a follow-up thanking your stepdad, not only for walking you down the aisle, but for being there for you and raising you. Any of your bio dad's flying monkeys who call you can be blocked. Not the a-hole, and your dad did walk you down the aisle. Just because he's not related by DNA doesn't mean he's not family. As you said, bio male was MIA. Jason stepped up and took over. That's a true parent. That I know. I do call Jason my dad, just for the sake of not confusing people I used his name. I just feel guilty in a way, you know? Oh honey, you have nothing to feel guilty about. Your dad abandoned you when you were a child, and he clearly never repaired the relationship because he didn't even show up to your wedding. You married the love of your life, surrounded by the friends and family who support you, you know, by showing up. The only response to those trying to make you feel bad is to remind them that bio dad wasn't there throughout your childhood and didn't even bother to show up for the wedding, and then block them. Best wishes on a long and happy marriage. You've only spoken to your sister Belle about this, correct? Is there any chance that all of this is coming just from her? Is there any chance your dad never said any of this? Or at least that he never wanted any of this conveyed to you? Belle is close to Amanda. Belle has kinda always been closer to them, since I guess she has forgiven them for what happened, which I haven't. But I know Belle wouldn't make something like this up, or at least I hope. I didn't speak to my father directly since I have his number blocked. Now for the update. I honestly didn't expect all the comments and kind words on my original post, so thank you. I ended up speaking with both my dad and Belle about the whole situation. First, with Belle, I told her to stay out of it altogether. I said if she's on our dad's side so much, she can have him walk her down the aisle at her wedding. I also made it clear that I'm not going to punish her for still talking to him, but I'm also not going to pretend he's been a father to me when he frankly never was. She didn't have much to say after that. Then I called my dad. That conversation went about how you'd expect. He started with, "One day you'll understand," and that I needed to learn respect. I told him cheating wasn't respectful, and neither was abandoning your kids, and that he hasn't been there for me since I was 10. Jason, however, has been there every step of the way, and he is my father to me. That's when my dad hung up on me, LOL. Amanda then made a passive-aggressive Facebook post saying, "No matter things that happened in the past, you'll always be family." I'm about 99% sure that was about me, but I digress. At the end of the day, I'm still not taking the photo down. I don't want to make Jason upset if I do, and he deserves to be celebrated. I'm not letting my bio dad rewrite history just because it makes him uncomfortable. People get so entitled around weddings and babies. I'm proud of you. To be honest, it's telling how those big life events seem to pull hidden entitlement right to the surface. Your choice to keep that photo is really about honoring the person who actually showed up for you. Good for you. You should tell Amanda, no matter the future, once a deadbeat and a cheater, always a deadbeat and a cheater. Stand your ground and keep honoring Jason. Next story. Am I the a-hole for ignoring my ex's request for a sit-down talk between him, his wife, and me? I, 31 female, have 2 kids, 11 and 9, with my ex, 33 male. We were never married and our relationship was never very good. So breaking up wasn't the worst thing that could have happened. For a while, it surprised me that he left first. I always suspected his wife, 32 female, was around before he left me. I know the 2 of them told me they were a couple less than 5 months after we broke up. And in that same conversation, they told me they were a team and that everything going forward had to include her because the kids would know her as their second mom. They told me to get used to hearing her called mom because they would not stop it and would actively encourage it. I brought them to court, and the judge added a clause about calling a step-parent or partner mom or dad. This pissed them off, but they still tried to show off what they could do as a couple for the kids, that I couldn't as a single mom. My ex's wife also told me she would be the mother to their other siblings, that she was going to give my ex a bunch of babies, and that this would win the kids over to her even more. She said she would be the preferred mom even if they never got to call her that. Or maybe they would, and that my kids would hate me for separating them if I got so jealous. I spent a lot of years documenting and trying to stay calm for the sake of my kids. We used a co-parenting app for communication, and they still sent messages through that about how she'd be favored and things like that. They were scolded a number of times over it. A few years ago, I put my kids in therapy because I knew they picked up on the issues between the adults. My ex's wife never got pregnant. I know I'll sound petty when I say this, but it made me so happy after all the gloating about how the kids would prefer her because she'd give them a lot more siblings. For a while, I noticed she was looking more and more depressed and desperate when no babies seemed to be born. Around July last year, my ex told me the kids would be with me for longer and that he would work out a makeup schedule later. I found out 6 weeks later that his wife had tried to take her own life and was in the hospital, and that it was triggered by the news she could not have biological children. She and my ex also told people it was made worse by my son not drawing her in a picture of his family that same day at summer camp. I filed with the courts for a temporary change in the custody agreement, and it was granted. She had to complete certain steps before the kids could go back into the house with her. My ex and she were unhappy, but since they used my kids as an excuse, I did not want to take any chances with them. She completed all the steps, and custody was returned to 50-50 in February of this year. Back in June, my ex suggested the 3 of us sit down and talk some things through. I told him anything that needed to be said could be done via the app. He said face-to-face was better, and that they wanted to improve the relationships so that she could be an equal parent and family member to the kids. Both of them started info dumping about her inability to have biological kids and how it hurts her to know the kids don't see her as family. They said they want us to put away the animosity so we can all be present and there for the kids, and that she realizes it won't happen while she hates my guts and wishes I would give the kids to her. I started ignoring the requests after first saying no because I do not think this will be a good idea and I do not trust them. They do not want us to do it over the app. The lucky thing for me is it's all in the app. And there are some concerning comments, like hoping I would let go of the no calling a step-parent or partner mom or dad rule, and things of that nature. When I did not reply and agree to meet up, my ex started saying I was not putting the kids first and that I needed to stop using everything against them in court. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and if they don't want their actions to come up in court, they should stop doing obnoxious things that an authority figure can see are wrong. I wanted to reply with that, but I have decided not to engage unless it's actually something important to do with the kids. That stops any escalation and shows the court I'm not engaging in petty fighting. This is very smart. Their fertility issues, her depression over it, and her subsequent actions are not your concern. Stay focused on the kids. If anything, she seems unstable and spiraling, and I fear their inability to manipulate you into doing what they want might cause her to lash out, spiral further, or worse. Please watch this situation closely. Having to send your kids into that home with what she has already said and done is quite frightening. I keep a close eye on things, and my kids' therapist does too. We'll know if things start to get worse through them or my ex's sister, who gave me more info last time. My ex doesn't communicate things to me that he should, and he was told he needs to stop withholding relevant information from me. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé to move out after a fight about how she treats me versus her coworkers? I 32 male work from home making over $100,000 a year. My fiancé, 30 female, is a doctor earning around $150,000 to $200,000. We live in my house. Since she's saving for her residency, I've never asked her to pay rent, utilities, or groceries. I handle most household chores because I know her job is demanding. I cook for her, make sure her bed's ready, and basically try to make home a place where she can rest without worrying about money or chores. Recently, I found out she treats her coworkers every single day. She admits she's a people pleaser, so I let it slide at first. But it hit me. If she can be that generous with other people, why does it feel like everything she does for me comes with conditions or strings attached? Example, I asked her to turn off the lights once because our electric bill hit $1,000, about $200 USD. She angrily handed me $40 for electricity, the only time she's ever chipped in for bills, even though I pay about $800 to $1,000 a month. She's complained about the cost of rides from my place to work, but even with that, she saves more living here than renting her own place. One day she had a day off and actually slept well. I asked her to wash the dishes. She got mad and called her mom to join the argument. Something I've told her before is a deal breaker. This wasn't the first time she's dragged her family into our disagreements. Today we argued again when she was telling me, cheerfully, how she regularly buys her co-workers food and coffee. I told her it hurts that she's so generous to them, but keeps score when it comes to me. She tracks everything she gives me, but not what she gives them. In the heat of the moment, I said, if this is how it's going to be, just move out. I know that was harsh, but I'm feeling unappreciated and like we're not really partners. More like I'm a live-in support system while she gives her best to other people. Am I the a-hole for saying that? Or am I just being overly sensitive and not understanding how stressful her job is? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. She treats you like a doormat. Good thing your spine finally started to grow. The very fact that she goes as far as to call her mother to gang up on you over some dishes is very telling. Are you sure you want to marry into this? Seriously, if she's calling her mom over dishes, imagine future arguments. This is a preview, not a one-off, not the a-hole. Facts. If she's already calling her mom over something as small as dishes, it's only going to get worse down the line. That's not just stress. That's how she handles conflict, and it's not healthy. OP's not wrong for drawing the line. This has nothing to do with her stress levels. Sorry to have to tell you this, but she's using you. She has money to treat her friends, but not pay some bills or do any chores around the house. If you stay with her, you are going to have a serious conversation about financial responsibility. Also, the way she's treating you when she basically lives there for free is absolutely atrocious. Stick to your original thought. Kick her out. Not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for paying for my little brother to eat the better school lunch, but not my step-siblings? I, 17 female, have a little brother, almost 15, and 2 step-siblings, 15 male and 13 female. Mom married their dad 2 years ago, and they've had bad finances since. One of the things that changed was how we could eat and what we could afford to eat. The high school my brother's stepbrother and I attend has 2 separate lunch menus, one for the free school lunch program and another for those who have money in their lunch accounts. I started earning money to pay into mine because the free lunch menu is bad, and when my brother started high school last August, I paid into his account, even though my mom thought he was getting the free lunches like my step-siblings. I wanted him to have the better lunches. My mom and her husband didn't find this out until July, when my stepbrother and stepsister complained about the 2 of us getting the paid lunches. My stepbrother told my stepsister, and she was upset because she's also on her middle school's free lunch program and doesn't like that she can't get the better menu options. My stepbrother said he was stuck with lame crap all year while we got burritos, rice bowls, and all kinds of better stuff. Mom asked me how my brother was getting the paid lunches when he didn't have a job, and I lied and said I didn't know. She said the only way that would be happening is if I was paying, because she certainly couldn't afford that. She asked me how I could justify only buying for him, and I told her he's my little brother, and I'll always look out for him. She asked about my other brother and sister. I told her I don't have another brother or a sister. She said I do, and I said I have a stepbrother and a stepsister, and if she got divorced tomorrow, they would no longer be my stepbrother and stepsister. I told her it's not my job to look out for them. My mom's husband wanted to know why I couldn't have told them, so they could make sure his kids got the better lunches, and I told him they would have stopped me because they don't have the money. Then he said it was bad enough I was getting them, but at least that was me paying for myself. He said if I pay for one, I should pay for all, and I told him that doesn't work when I'm paying for my sibling, not just anyone. He tried to argue that all 3 are my siblings too, but I told him the same thing and used the real sibling argument. With school starting back soon, Mom told me I'd better pay for all 3 if I don't want to turn into an awful person who divides our family. She said, or I could stop paying for them all and just accept the free lunches. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, and you are a great big sister. Thank you. I try to be, especially when we don't have a ton of family. Not the a-hole. You are only 17 and only working part-time. You have the right to get yourself something nicer, and it's a kind gesture to help your brother. It is not your responsibility to upgrade any of them. It's not like they're not getting fed. You're giving your brother, who you are blood related to and have bonded with, extra because it's within your means, but it's not your responsibility to give them the same, especially since it's only been 2 years. If you were an adult and working full-time, it may have been nice for you to give them the same, but you are not obligated either way. Why are they trying to parentify you? Does your stepfather contribute toward your costs? Even if he did, it wouldn't make you the a-hole. I think he's the reason we started to struggle as much as we have. I know he had debt before they married, and I've heard Mom say he needs to let her make the financial decisions because he can't be trusted. So there's that.